In this video, I'm going to show you how to graph a quadratic function and then be able to find the maximum, the minimum, and if there's any zeros. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click the y equals button on our calculator. And we're going to enter a function, a quadratic function in here. So a quadratic function has a biggest degree of 2. So I'm just going to make up a quadratic function. So I'm just going to say 4 parentheses, I'm going to do x, we'll do minus 1 and parentheses square. So I'm putting this in vertex form. And then I'm going to do minus, let's do minus 3. And then if I go over to the right hand side of my calculator where it says graph, I click graph and you can see my parabola here. Now we're going to identify, we're first going to determine if we have a maximum or minimum. And in this case, we have a minimum because we have a low value here. So to do that, you're going to hit the second button. So it's the yellow button on the top. And we're going to hit trace. And you see all of our options. We're going to look at number 3, the minimum. So I'm going to go down, either use the arrows or just hit the number 3. And you'll notice that it says left bound. Left bound just means to the left of whatever spot we are looking at. Since I'm looking at the low value here, I go to the left of it. The cursor is already to the left of it, so now I can just hit enter. Now it says right bound, so I use the right arrow and I move the cursor to the right hand side. Now it doesn't matter where I put it on the right hand side as long as it's on the right hand side of the vertex. Once it's there, I hit enter. And then it says guess. Once it says guess, they want you to say, okay, now what is the answer? And so I hit enter a third time. And then it produces the answer down here. It says the minimum value is at 1.000012. This really small number just means that it's 1. And then my y value is at -3. So I would have a minimum value of 1, -3. And that would be our ordered pair. What if we wanted to find the zeros? The zeros are where it crosses the x-axis. So we're going to go through the same steps. I hit the second, trace, and now you look for where it says 0, which is option number 2. So I'm going to hit number 2, and it says left bound. And for the zeros, you always have to read from left to right based on the graph. So I'm going to move this to the left, so it's going up, but I'm really going to the left here. So I want this spot, so I want to go to the left of this spot, which means it's above the x-axis. So left bound means I'm above the x-axis. Hit enter. Now right bound, I have to go to the right side, which will make it below the x-axis. So I have the cursor below the x-axis here. I hit enter, then guess to produce my answer. I hit enter again. And it says the 0 is at when y is 0, my x is 0.1339746. Now I could round that to, like if they said to the nearest hundredth, I would say 0.13. But it all depends on what they ask you to round to. Now that's only one of our zeros. We have another 0 right over here. So to find the other 0, I go second, trace, still number 2, find the zeros. Now left bound is underneath the x-axis because if I go left of this spot right here on the x-axis, the left of its spot would be over down here because that's to the left of that spot. So I hit enter. Right bound means I have to keep going to the right until I'm above the x-axis. Hit enter, guess, hit enter a third time. And it says that the x value here is when y is 0, x is 1.8660254. To the nearest hundredth would be 1.87. So that is how you can find the minimum and the zeros on a graphing calculator. If you were to find the maximum, you would just do the same steps as long as it would be the highest point.